Hey there, Vernacular Faithful. Redcoat here, and I've got another piece of the instruction booklet series. This one's going to be another little known title, but it was one that I played the crap out of on my Game Boy. Yes, we're going into the handheld space. So there's going to be some immediate changes. There's going to be some immediate things that you're going to notice about these little books. But yeah, this one is Jeep Jamboree. And one of the things you'll immediately notice is like there's not much here. We've got a relatively well designed logo. I mean, not it's nothing groundbreaking, but you'll recognize it when you see it. This was a Virgin Games title, and we'll see that they made a number of older games back in the day. Particularly, I believe they were actually attached to the SNES Lion King title. Um, don't quote me on that. I'll get to that instruction manual eventually. I do have it. Um, but yeah, so once again, this is just a general thing that you're going to see on all of the instruction manuals. Um, with some market exceptions, particularly in the early days. It's like this is on a Game Boy. If you found this and you don't have a Game Boy, you can't play this. Get yourself a Game Boy. And then of course you get the Nintendo up here, and then made by Virgin Games. Look for more Virgin Games, and then on the back, nothing too fancy. And this is something I'm going to be paying attention to actually, because I know most of the what we've seen so far is most of the Nintendo titles don't put advertisements on the back of their things, and I have a suspicion that that's just going to hold true throughout most of this. And even though while this is a third-party title, it's still on a Nintendo console. So it's interesting. We'll see. We'll see if that holds true over time. But yeah, just Virgin Games, and then all rights reserved. I suspect this is going to be not as interesting as some of the other reads. So you'll notice in this one, the again we've got that Nintendo seal of approval. This is a Nintendo title. It's very good. All of that cool stuff, and it's front and center. It's pretty big. And then of course the read this before you play. And it's like, oh man, this is a very low effort book. But we still have a table of contents, which means it puts it a level above, at least in my opinion, a number of Prima guides that don't have tables of contents or glossaries. Anyway, um, but yeah, in-game screens most part. Man, look at those Game Boy graphics. I know you can't see them all that well because my camera's not focusing all that well, but very basic thing. Oh, driving a Jeep as a virgin. Hmm. Yes, it says that's the name that they gave themselves. But yeah, so some basic stuff. Very, very bare bones. Not all that interesting. Like this is definitely not one of those instruction booklets that I would, while I'm riding out somewhere, I would break out and read. And yeah, it's kind of like, hey, it's race season. You got all of these different places. No pictures though. Yeah, it's interesting because this was if you look at well, I know you can't read this because focusing. But it actually highlights actual locations. So it's like San Juan County, Utah, Bethel, Maine, Blanding, Utah, Eureka, and Fort Bragg, California, St. Francisville, Louisiana, um, and just goes down the line. Like they have a whole bunch of different tracks um, in the game, which suggests that there is, like, this was definitely still made by somebody who was a Jeep enthusiast to some extent, because just knowing where these tracks are, looking them up, and getting that information. So it's interesting. Um, it seems that they just didn't have. I mean, they didn't put any budget into the instruction manual, which, I mean, frankly, that makes sense. I mean, they didn't expect somebody to pull this up later on in the years and be like, "Hey, we wanna check this out." But yeah, here you can see what the in-game screen was going to look like, and they actually have the you have a little track readout on your screen and all that. And very basic controls. Press A to go. Press B to brake. Turn left. Turn right, and you've got a turbo. Uh, I don't think I ever actually used the turbo in that game. But then again, I don't think I actually ever read the. I don't think I ever actually read the manual to see what the controls were. And here again, we have this was clearly made by somebody who was a Jeep enthusiast, but didn't have the art team, as they talk about the history of the Jeep vehicle. It's like, and the first thing he starts with is legendary. So whoever wrote this definitely wanted to share something with that. Oh wait, hold on. I gotta read this. I gotta read this. This is interesting, actually. All right. Legendary. A word that certainly applies to Jeep vehicles. Alone in their class, the Jeep vehicle was the original road warrior, the workhorse of World War II. It started a whole new automotive category, the sport utility class. Over the past 50 years, it has evolved into a family of lifestyle vehicles that live up to the Jeep legend and give it a new meaning. Ike liked it. Some say the Jeep vehicle took its name from a Popeye comic strip character. Others claim it derived from the military designation GP, General Purpose, Jeep. One undisputed fact is this pugnacious, no-nonsense four-wheel drive vehicle was field-tested in 1941 under the command of Colonel Dwight D. Eisenhower. Apparently, Ike thought enough of the Jeep vehicle to approve it for service, and its war record speaks for itself. So, I'm not going to read the rest of this, but honestly, I would rather play a game that actually goes through all of this than, I mean, this is basic. Yeah, that's interesting. That's fun. But yeah, so that's some of the other stuff. And then there's like Jeep Jamboree, relatively small team here. And you have the credits in the back of the book, like one programmer, one artist. That explains a lot. Uh, a musician. You got the producer and the production assistant, product manager, executive producer, and a quality assurance team. And I got more managers than you have actual team members. And then special thanks to a bunch of people. Oh, special thanks to Sly Stallone and Elvis Presley. Oh, that's funny. Ah, all right. At any rate, that is Jeep Jamboree. And so, much more of a, what would you call it? Much more of a bare bones and utilitarian instruction manual. I think if anything, it was more, they probably made it more as a Nintendo said, you have to have these. And I'm guessing there's probably some legal reason why. And Virgin's like, okay, fine, we'll do it. But I still have to say that the fact that at the back of the book they have that thing was like, this is the history of the Jeep. Isn't it cool? It does make me think that there was some element of, I mean, for tie-in games, of course, it's always about expanding knowledge, drawing people in, and I think there's something to that idea because also think about the fact that this is a Game Boy game, right? So this goes with you wherever you go. So let's say you did go on a Jeep Jamboree and you were waiting for something, maybe the weather got really bad, or you got your Jeep stuck in the mud, and so you get somebody's winching it out at the moment, and for some reason you're not helping. You should probably help them winch your Jeep out of the mud, you know. But in that case, while you're waiting, you boot up your Game Boy. You're like, I can play this game about Jeeps, so I can Jeep while I'm waiting for my Jeep, so that I can Jeep again. Anyway, interesting thing. Although myself, I wasn't that much of a Jeep enthusiast or anything. It was a game with a Jeep on it, and I was a young boy of simple means and simple needs. I saw Jeep, I saw car, I ride, I drive. So, at any rate, that's Jeep Jamboree for you. I got one more that I'm going to hit today, but we'll see that at another point. So this has been Sakai Dozier. Oh, excuse me. Gonna have to cut that out. This has been Redcoat of Vernacular Games, and we are a game creation company, and we do development consulting. If you'd like to request our services, you can send an email to vernaculargames@gmail.com or send an email to redcoatvernac@protonmail.com. That's redcoatvernac@protonmail.com. You can also poke us on X. We do have an X channel. Generally speaking, we use that to repost other people's independent products because, frankly, I want to see everyone succeed in that space. And actually, if you guys would be interested in it, um, definitely make a note below of possibly interviewing other independent developers and just talking to them about the stuff that they do, what they went through to get their titles made. I feel like that would be a really cool thing I mean, I would very much enjoy it, but yeah, that'd be a really cool thing that to try and organize and get done. At any rate, for now, this is Redcoat signing off. Play the games you want to play, boyos, and have a wonderful day.